So today I want to show you a few ideas of how I'm using the pitch shifter device in Bitwig. I'm uploading weekly sound design videos to my Patreon, and from experimentation there, I found a few fun ways of using the pitch shifter. And as always, I added also the ideas from this video to the PDF of tips and tricks I keep on updating. It's also available on my Patreon together with the project files from this video and from many other videos. And the first idea, probably the most obvious one, is using the pitch shifter to create a sort of a shimmer delay / reverb where the repeats are shifted up in octaves and create a nice texture. So here I have a crunchy pad sound with the polymer synth, and I can play this with my MIDI keyboard. And in this case I will use the delay plus, so in the effects chain, I will add a delay plus, and you can see we have here the feedback effects slot where we can place devices that will affect the repeats. So again, in this case, I will add inside here the pitch shifter, take this all the way up to 12 semitones, so an octave up. You can experiment also with the grain size and mix, right? But now it will sound like this. Take the mix a bit up, right, and you can hear already the octaves above. If I turn it off, right, and then on again, and again with different grain sizes, it will sound different. Now we can make this a bit more smeared and subtle by adding the blur device after the pitch shifter. Just add one of them, and actually, since we're using the delay plus, we have even built-in blur here on the delay plus. So if I choose something like space, this will turn it into more of a reverb, right? Adding a bit of space. Right, so now we have even a shimmer reverb. I have also an ARP here, right, with another polymer. And in this case, I'm using the delay 2 device, not the delay plus, but also here you can see we have the feedback effects. So here again I can add a pitch shifter, right? You can see I'm modulating also the mix just to add more movement, right? Again without and with, and again to make everything a bit more subtle and smeared. Since we don't have the smear function here on the delay 2, I added even 2 blur devices. Right, I have here a line recorded here for the pad. And a few more voices like a kick and bass, hi-hat, and a snare. This is also quite easy to do in the effects grid. Here I have a sequence, right, again with another polymer. And in the effects grid, you can see I just have the long delay for now. Right, so for creating a feedback loop, we need to use a mixer before the delay, right, and then send the delay back into itself through another channel here on the mixer. Right, and now this level on the mixer will dictate the feedback amount or the feedback level. Right, and again, we have now this loop that we can place anything inside of it. So also here I will use the pitch shifter Again, take it an octave up, which is 12 semitones. I like to have the grain rate all the way down, but again, you can experiment with this. Of course, you can also experiment with other intervals, not just octaves. Right, but now I can start adding this. Right, maybe take some mixing it down. Right, and also here we can smear things and make them a bit more subtle and more reverby. In this case with the all-pass delay, either after the pitch shifter, and we can add even more than just one. Right, or we can add even some after the delay itself and take the feedback loop from the delay. Right? Now things are much more smeared. I have here also an ARP with the same idea. Let me just solo this for a second. Right, in this case again, the long delay going back into itself through a mixer, but I'm adding a few more effects here. I have a chorus before the pitch shifter, then again all pass delays, but then again another effect, also a phaser, the phaser plus, just to make this a bit more interesting with more movement. This is how it is without all this chain, and then with. Right, so it adds lots and lots of texture. And again, I have other voices. Another fun thing to try is using the pitch shifter as a granular processor or delay. Here I have a sequence again with the polymer. And now what I will do in the effects chain here, I will add two pitch shifters. One will go down in pitch, the other one will go up in pitch by the same amount. Right, so in this case it's minus 12 semitones, so an octave down, and then an octave up. Right, then mix all the way up on both of them. Right, and you can hear there is no change in pitch since they cancel one another, right? They go down and up by the same amount, but we still have this granular effect, right? And we can play with it with the grain size. So it sounds really sorts of like a granular delay. We can also change the mix if you still want pitch shifting. So if the mix is not all the way up, we still get pitch shifting because one will affect the other, which can also be a nice effect. But we can also add global dry-wet controls by using the chain device and then placing both of them inside the chain. Right, and then we have global mix, so again, all the way down, there is no effect. And then I can start adding it. I have here more or less the same with an ARP. Right, again, going down by an octave, going up by an octave. In this case, the mix stayed all the way up, so there is no pitch shifting, but I'm modulating the global mix on the chain. Right, and you can hear the effect it gives the sound. This works nicely also on percussive sound, so here I have, for example, a hi-hat. In this case, modulating the pitch shifting by the same amount up and down. Right, mix just has to be all the way up here, and I'm also modulating the global mix on the chain. Right, so it's nice and glitchy. I have the same here also on the snare. Right, in this case I'm even modulating the grain size. Right, so you can hear it's nice and glitchy. Also here I have a kick and a bass. Another variation on this idea is to have again pitch shifters that cancel one another, but in between placing different effects, which will make things much more complex. So here I have a simple pad sound, again with the polymer. And I will already add everything inside of the chain device, so later I can control the mix, right? So first of all, we will start with the pitch shifter. We will make this one, take it an octave down, mix all the way up, right? So now we have the same pad, just an octave down. And then after the pitch shifter, we will add the chorus plus, right? Maybe the mix all the way up, maybe a different type of chorus, a bit slower maybe. And then have another pitch shifter after that, bringing it back to the original pitch. So an octave up, again, mix all the way up. And now it sounds like this. Right, so we have the same pitch, but we are processing the sound after the chorus. And we have something more complex, and we can add even more to this. So maybe after the chorus, again, to make this a bit more subtle, add a blur device. And then after the last pitch shifter, we can add the delay plus. And again, after this, another pitch shifter. In this case, it will take everything an octave up. So it processes, again, mix all the way up. It processes everything, also the signal after the delay plus. And then after this, we can add, let's say, the phaser plus, maybe make this a bit slower, stereo, mix all the way up. And then another pitch shifter to take this back down an octave to the original pitch, mix all the way up. So again, we stay now at the same original pitch, but now it's very processed, right? So let me play this now. Maybe change the phaser a bit. Right, again, we have everything in the global chain here, so I can take the mix all the way down. This is now the original sound. And now I can add this on top. So it creates something much more complex and interesting. I have here again a few more voices. I will let this play a bit, but thank you again so much for watching. Come join us on Patreon. Cheers.